Hey everyone, welcome back to the Girl of Gen Z podcast. And for today's guest, I have Anderson. Welcome to the episode.
Oh yeah, I have to talk. I forgot I can't be seen. I have to actually speak and say things.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. Hello, my name's Anderson. Nice to meet you.
So, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Hamilton, in Ontario, and I always was back and forth to Mississauga, how we met, through my dance studio. My family on one side is from Mississauga, the other side in Hamilton. So kind of grew up between the two, but Hamilton always has a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah. So is it your mom's family that's on that side?
Yeah. So my mom, we lived around a few different places when I was young, but Hamilton is really where I grew up. From the age of like 5, we lived there, and my grandpa and my grandma lived there as well. And just grew up, went to school there. And then by the time I was 20, I was ready to leave home, and I moved in with my grandparents in Mississauga. So I was going to school in Toronto, and the plan was to move to Toronto, but I didn't want a roommate. I just wanted to live on my own. And then I realized, that's really expensive. My grandparents were like, well, you can come live with us in Mississauga. That's more on the way to Toronto. So I lived with them for 3 years.
So from 20 to 23.
20 to 23, I lived with my grandparents, and that was awesome. That was such a good experience, just getting to live with them, because growing up, I didn't get to see them as often because they weren't the grandparents that lived around the corner. So getting to live with them as an adult really deepened our relationship, and just, I'm really thankful to have spent that time with them.
Were you close with them when you were younger?
I always loved my grandparents. It was almost like a mythological side in a way, because I wasn't super close with my dad growing up, and still I'm not really. But
where did he live?
I don't know where he lived at that time, honestly.
Okay.
Maybe Mississauga. I actually don't know where he lived when I was growing up. But now he lives in Peterborough. He's lived in Peterborough for 10 years or something.
Okay.
He lived in Toronto for a bit. I don't know where he lived before that, honestly.
Okay.
But my mom never held me back from seeing my grandparents. She never used me as a tool. I was like, well, you can't see your grandparents unless you give me money, or you know what I mean? She never did that. So when I did get to go see them, it was always really exciting. My aunt used to live with them. She was 25 or something when I was young. So she was always the cool aunt that would take me to go and do things. We'd go to the movies. So when I was young, my dream, I always wanted to go live with my grandparents. I thought that was the coolest house. I thought they were the coolest people.
Was it a nice house? Was it
I love the house. It wasn't modern, but it was
homey?
Just so homey. It was big, but didn't feel like a mansion where you echo or anything. And I think just the memories of everyone there for Christmas and that sort of thing was really just
special.
Yeah, just so special. Yeah, exactly. And the smell, the smell of the hallway just had such a certain smell.
Scent. For sure. It's everyone has their scent, and theirs was really special.
Yeah, and it just brings you back. But they actually just moved.
I saw on your Instagram story, you're like, buy house.
Oh my God, I was a mess, because it's here's this thing that you've had in your life that means so much to you for so long, and they lived there for 40 something years.
It's
and
a
now
grandparent thing. They live in a house for ever.
Forever.
Until they there's a reason why they have to move.
Yeah. And my grandparents, thankfully, they're very their goals. They're almost 80, but they're going to Abu Dhabi or Dubai. They're going somewhere on a trip.
That's where they're moving?
No. Oh my God. That would be pretty epic. That would be so epic.
I was like, whoa, that's a pretty big life-changing moment.
Yeah.
Seniors just
No, it's just peace,
Dubai.
Bye guys. It's been a blast.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, they're going on a vacation, but they're just so active, and they have so many grandkids that they're always going and running and doing this and that. So they decided to move because now this house was too big for them, and they're still capable, but they didn't want it to get to the point where one day they absolutely can't handle it, and now it's an emergency situation of needing to move, where the way they went about it was, I know in 5 years I'm not going to be as capable as I am now. So I want to move while I'm still able, pick a place, get settled, all that. So yeah, that was what I guess initiated them to move. But it was definitely and is still a big life change for everyone.
Is it far from their old place?
They moved from Mississauga. They moved into Oakville. So about like 15
not bad.
15 minutes. No, it's not. But it's just moving from like a 5-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom condo.
Huge change.
Yeah.
Especially when you said they've been there for 40 years.
40 years.
It's like just having, like you said, those hallways, just the empty space
yeah.
available, and then to downsize.
I know, and it's weird. And their house is always the one where everyone goes there for Christmas.
It's like the holiday house.
It's the holiday house. So that is where it's kind of nerve-wracking of all these navigating, like Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah, whose house are you going to do that?
That's the thing. It's like, what are we going to do now? I think they're hosting it at their party room in the condo, but it's like, it's the first holiday where they're not going to be at the house. So it's just weird. Like
an adjustment, a change.
An adjustment. Sure. Yes. Many adjustments happening in life. And that's one of them. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So would you say that your childhood was happy for the most part? Were you a happy kid?
I think so. I think I had a lot of experiences that most children probably didn't have, in the sense of like growing up with a single mom and knowing a lot about the finances or the struggles or just certain challenges that we went through. I think that I was happy, but I definitely, once I got older, realized like not everybody went through that. So I think I was happy, but I just adapted to what my version of normal was.
Right.
Yeah. But I think I was happy. I think I still am a kind of happy person, but I think my standard of like normal might be lower than other people's, or in a certain way, you know?
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from with that, especially with you saying like, your version of normal based on your living scenario and the way you grow up, and
not having two parents or or just like maybe being a little bit financially more challenged.
Egalitarian when you have like the two parents that work, or like we learned this in school.
That sounds familiar.
Or matriarchal, more family, so you just had your mom. So it wasn't so much egalitarian, it was more, I think it's matriarchal, I think. Don't quote me, but it's like the mom takes kind of the charge on that.
Well, my parents weren't together, so it wasn't even like an option, really. They just weren't together. My mom had to do everything, and she busted her butt a lot.
Did she work multiple jobs?
Multiple jobs. And I think that also just showed me like a general work ethic too. I realized that I was thankful for that, because my mom showed me like, you do what you have to do. If that means you work from this time to that time and then go to the next job and work from this time to that time, that's what you have to do. So I spent from a young age a lot of time alone while my mom was working.
You're an only child.
I'm an only child. And my mom, it wasn't like she just abandoned me, but
she had to pay the bills.
She was working, but she would always say, go to your friend's house, like go hang out, ask your friends to go to the park, go visit your grandparents, like go hang out at their house.
She's trying to give you things to do to keep your time filled.
But I was like, no, I just want to stay home alone. I was like 9 years old. Like I remember I'd be 9 years old, which now I'm like, oh my gosh, that probably is not right. You know what I mean? But my mom just like, she worked across the street too. So in an emergency, she was there. Yeah. But I just loved being home alone and feeling independent and being like, I'm gonna make my dinner tonight. And then like, when you're a kid, you just run around your house doing all kinds of random things. Like that's what I did. And I loved it.
So what did you cook yourself?
Oh, I thought I was a chef beyond all chefs, because I could cook the best mushrooms. Like I just like to cook mushrooms.
Like grill them? Like
no, just like saute them in a pan. Sometimes I just love mushrooms. I still do, but yeah, I would just make mushrooms. Sometimes I would make spaghetti. I don't eat beef anymore, but when I did, I used to like make spaghetti and make sauce. And I still love making sauce. I like making tomato sauce and stuff. But yeah, I would just make spaghetti and think I was a genius.
Was there ever a time where your mom came home and you just like made a disaster of like the kitchen? Or
honestly, probably, but none that come to mind. One time I was 14. I was cooking mushrooms actually, and I was home alone, and the stove. Okay, so here's the backstory. The when we have candles, you know how it gets to a certain point that it doesn't burn anymore, but there's still a little bit of wax in the bottom. So my mom would always put them on the stove and turn the stove on very low so that it would heat the candle enough to use the rest of the wax. But then what happened was sometimes the glass broke and whatever wax was in like poured all over our stove. So that's a fire hazard, number one. You shouldn't be doing that. But again, that's just the way. You've met my mom. My mom's she's a wonderful person, but like really she's just like odd. And that's where I get it from. But yeah, so there was wax all in our stove, which is flammable. So we just like didn't really use that burner very much. And then one day I was cooking and I was making my mushrooms, and then the wax from underneath caught fire and literally ignited the whole. Yeah, it just went like this. I was home alone. I was 14. I had my 2 dogs were there, bigger kind of dogs, and the smoke alarm's going off, like the house is filling with smoke. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So my first reaction is, okay, flip the pan over and smother it. But then my second reaction is like, no, there's oil in this pan, so that's going to make this fire worse.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, the dog is freaking out. The dog's barking. The fire detector's going off. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And then
Is this a house?
This is a townhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of small on the first level. Dogs freaking out, fire detector, all these things happening. I was looking for, you know, you're like, what did my teachers tell me to do? And like, stop that roll. Like, what am I supposed to do right now? I couldn't find any flour or sand or anything to soak it up. So I just grabbed a towel and soaked it in the sink and threw the towel on the stove, and it just went like this. And I was like, I just stood there kind of like, what just happened? Oh my gosh. And the walls were all black and this. And then maybe honestly 10 minutes later, my mom came home from work and I was like, Mom, there was just a fire. Like, and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, what happened? The walls are black. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I handled it. I saved it.
The house.
Yeah.
And the dog.
Yeah.
And
myself. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, like, good for you for doing that. Good for you for thinking of those things.
Imagine if you didn't, like,
if I just ran out
too quick enough. Yeah, you just ran out like a maniac.
Like, ditch, peace, bye.
Your dogs were just like running wild. Like, what the heck is going on?
I know that it's scary. It was scary because it just spreads so fast and it's kind of intimidating. And yeah, but I just, you know, if you're ever in that moment, just grab a towel, soak it, and just spray water as much as you can. And then deal with the mess after.
Don't flip the pan with the oil over.
Don't flip the pan. I'm so glad. I was so close. Yeah. Because that would have then actually probably
you're freaking out. You're nervous. Happens within seconds. You grab whatever's nearest to you. But I'm glad you had the like logic to think for a moment. Okay, not the smartest idea.
Yeah. You have to kind of have that thought process in the moment of like, what's actually logical here?
Right.
And just, not always act on that first thing. You kind of have to take a moment to just like center yourself, I guess. Yes. Maybe I was very wise as a 14-year-old. I don't know.
So let's get on into, I guess, how we met and then kind of where you're at in life now and kind of that area. So we met at a dance studio that now you run?
Yeah, partially not own, but like manage to a degree.
Okay.
There's a couple. There's 4 of us plus the owner, who we run it as a team collective. The original owner, as you would know, but everyone else would not, she passed away about 2 years ago now. So that's when we all kind of stepped in to manage our certain parts of it, and just as a collective,
everyone stepped up.
Keep it going. Yeah, everyone stepped up, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a new era for the studio. That's another location in my life that has been there for 40-something years, and we're also moving.
That's crazy.
This year as well.
That's crazy.
So lots of changes in the past 2 years in that area.
So you grew up dancing at this studio and this studio only.
Mm-hmm. My mom grew up dancing there as well.
So do you want to kind of tell that backstory first then, and then how you started?
Yeah. So I think Miss Nancy started it in 1976, I believe, and my mom joined probably in like 1980 or something like that. So my mom grew up dancing there from the time she was 9, and then she grew up, became a teacher, went through that whole thing, did all the training. Back in the day, they used to have a lot more kind of certification programs.
I was going to ask, how did that process end up coming about?
Yeah, like we sort of, our studio, we really do kind of just go through the process where if you stick around long enough, you eventually start assistant teaching and then eventually get your own class. And then eventually, if you stay and enjoy it and are good enough, you would develop into a full-time teacher. So that's what happened with my mom. And when my mom had me, she was quite young. She was 21. She turned 22 like 2 weeks later. And she would just bring me to the studio in the little car seat while she was teaching dance.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she would just bring me in and I was just a baby, literally didn't have any, I was just sitting there. And then
What was she teaching?
I think jazz, like everything, tap kind of. My mom, like who goes back to teaching dance literally 2 weeks after having a baby, doing the splits? Apparently she was like doing this.
I'm just thinking like tapping and it's so loud and you're just like in this car seat.
Yeah.
Just like that didn't startle you at all as
I know.
an infant.
My mom knows the total type is just like, get used to it.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. You'll be fine, And then I guess maybe that's where I still do it now,
Yeah.
So then I guess when I was about 3 is when I officially started dancing there.
So you enrolled in your first class. Or
Yeah.
She enrolled you in your first
Yeah,
class.
my mom would teach me dance at home, of course, not really by choice either. She would kind of like, do this now, learn this step. Like she wanted me to be the little prodigy.
Yeah. You're like the little gopher. What's
yeah.
it? Like she had to like test out her moves.
Yeah.
Before bringing it to the class.
Guinea pig.
Yes,
Guinea pig.
yes.
Yeah, little guinea pig. And so then I grew up dancing there and then just stuck with it. And I don't know if we ever danced together until later.
Way later.
Yeah, like our last
later.
years,
Yes.
I think. Because by then, I was one of the few who didn't leave and go to university. That's typically when people kind of stop. But I didn't go to university, so I stayed dancing for those extra 2 years.
Yeah,
and I think that's when
did in our class too. Laura did.
Yeah.
And
what class was that though? Oh, prima donna.
Yeah, jazz.
Yeah.
I don't think she was in our contemporary.
And not contemporary.
She
no.
just wanted to stay in the jazz.
Yeah. A little heavy in your arms.
Yeah. I love that piece.
Yeah. It was such a good one. Honestly, I remember I was going through a breakup at that time when we were doing that dance. And I just remember being so like,
emotionally
oh my God, I'm so
drawn.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this sadness and this heartbreak.
Yeah. So a little backstory. It's like a heavy contemporary piece. It's by Florence and the Machine?
Yeah.
And our costumes that we had and just like
ripped.
It was
tattered.
My parents were like, that was like crazy good. Like
yeah.
I remember we won like a special award. We got a really, really high mark. And like I wasn't going through a breakup, but I remember being like so invested in this piece. And our teacher just kept being like feel this out, like you got this, and we all were so committed. Yeah. So yeah, that piece was really sick.
It was fun. It was just great to kind of like connect into
an element that we didn't normally, it just wasn't the typical for our studio.
Yeah. And because contemporary was sort of a style that started emerging. And one thing about Miss Nancy was she did sometimes take a little bit of convincing to bring on those newer styles.
The more, I don't want to say millennial, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like the hipper, things just evolve, and that's natural.
She was into her classic, classic jazz songs, classic tap songs. Yeah. Like you tried to bring out anything new and it was like, no. And then you're like, but why? Other studios are.
And we've gotten there eventually, right? And that it took some time of just like kind of introducing it. So it was kind of new to our studio for a time. And then, after that, so I would have been about 19 maybe at that time. When I was 20, I was teaching then, but I was
Assistant,
just teaching.
Or just like your own classes?
I think I had, not then, but I did have my first class when I was 16. I was teaching. And then I took a couple years off and I went to George Brown. I took a dance program there when I was 20. That's when I moved to Mississauga with my grandparents. And that was so much fun. It was just 1 year of dancing all day, every day, jazz and modern.
Which you loved anyway.
Yeah, we got to do acting as well and singing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really great experience.
Well-rounded program.
Totally. It was just so much fun. And it was very intense because every single day you're dancing and doing this. And it was just 8 months from September to April, I guess.
That's crazy you got to do all of that in 8 months.
Yeah, you do it.
I was thinking that was like at least a year or two of a program. But 8 months.
It was just every day dancing. It was so fun. It was so great. And I wanted to then continue to their 2-year program. And some of my friends did. But then I realized that I didn't actually want to. I don't know if this is laziness or if I actually really genuinely felt this way, but I just realized I didn't want to be a dancer for my career. I didn't want to go through auditions and all of that. Like that wasn't my, and I love dancing, but I didn't think I wanted to make that my career, because really I love dancing, but I also love teaching, whether that's dance or something else. I've just always loved kind of teaching, mentoring and being a role model. So then that's when I went back after I finished that year. I went back. I was still involved in the studio.
Did you take a year off from the studio when you went to school?
No. So my years get jumbled up in my head, but I think what happened the year I was at George Brown, I started the year, I was teaching a couple classes, but then my second semester at George Brown, my classes ran later. So then I couldn't actually make it. I was trying so hard because I was taking subway from Toronto to Kipling and from the bus to the studio, and I was not getting there in time. So I had to, unfortunately, someone else ended up taking over that class. But I think that was the only year that I wasn't dancing. I wasn't dancing. I wasn't teaching. And that was really even only for
8 months.
No, not even, because the first 4 months I was still teaching.
Oh my God.
It was the second half.
Yeah.
So from the time I was literally born, I've never really been away from the studio more than 1 year. When I was 5, I took a year off. And then ever since then, I've just like been there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So now I've been a teacher there for the past like 5 years, 6 years.
So what was your first style that your mom enrolled you in?
I think it was probably ballet. I think for sure ballet, as with most. That's the way it goes. Not so much because it is obviously the foundation and it's important, but I think it's also the easiest to get kids to follow along, right? Like it's just basics. They're so young. At 3 years old, they're just learning how to walk. They're learning, so all of these concepts of straightening your leg, of pointing your toe, of jumping or of hopping, all these things are really new to them. So that's where ballet, we now at that age just call it kinder dance, and we do
they have changed that name a lot. So kinder dance.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You're really just teaching them listening to music, following instruction, mastering how to stand on one leg, all those basics where we just are so used to it that it's really kind of introducing them basics. Even at 3 years old, they don't go to school yet. So something as a teacher, I'm like, okay, line up. And then they just clump together. They don't know what a line is. So you're even just teaching them how to line up, So that's where, I guess, back to what you asked me, that was the style I learned first, was more ballet, the basics. And then next ventured into tap, because that is...
It wasn't jazz next.
No, I didn't take jazz until I was 7. No, I was 6, my first year of jazz. So I did ballet, 3, 4, 5, skipped out 5 at a different place for some reason. And then took tap when I was 4. And then when I was 6, I came back to dance at the studio and did jazz and ballet.
Okay.
And then that's when I ventured into the world of competitive dance. And then,
that's history.
And the rest is history,
Competitive years were fun, eh?
Competitive is the best. It's just so fun, especially because, as you would know, our studio is not the kind that just like blasts you with 5-hour-a-day classes where you're here 5 days a week. So I feel
it was definitely like a family community feel.
Sure. Where you get to have the best of both worlds, where we would go to competition, have so much fun, and we actually did well at competition.
That is true.
We usually did well considering the amount of time we spent at the studio.
Compared to other like really, really intense ones.
Where it's like you're full-time. That's a full-time job. You're there every day of the week.
I felt bad for kids that come to school so freaking sleepy, and I was like, well, I've got good rest because I wasn't at studio until 10 or 11.
Yeah, you have like 2 hours of class, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But that was like once a week, not 4 times a week,
Yeah, I think the most I was ever at studio was like 4 times max.
Yeah.
Like max. Usually was like, 2 or 3.
Yeah, and that was really only once you got to be later anyways.
Yeah, and
right?
competitive too, right?
Yeah.
And it was like your choice at that point with the like solos and duets, and like then you'd have to start picking time slots and coming on different days, stuff like that. But they'd be really good with trying to group your group classes like the same days.
We still do that now, as we because we never want it to be a case of a chore or something that just eats up your whole life. Like we want it to be something that supplements your life and is a great part of your life, but it doesn't need to be your everything.
Yeah.
Like you need to, because I feel like that's also where people burn out, because you're there, you're like, oh, I have to go back.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I just want a day off. So we really try to keep it as, blocked as possible, not having people here every day. That happens sometimes, yes. We try not to, but
you do the best on your end as you can, but at the end of the day, like,
it's
it
a
is
schedule.
what it is, right?
There's
Yeah.
50 to 100 families
Especially
you're trying
if
to.
the kids are in extracurriculars that aren't just dance, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm working with more than just our studio schedule,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
then you
We
know
get
it's
that
all
sometimes where it's like, well, swimming is this day and volleyball's then. And then she's got horseback riding. How am I supposed to come if that's the only time you offer? And it's like, well, sorry. But like, we're a dance studio. We're not trying to play Sudoku with your volleyball, your violin, your this and that. And we try our best.
Of course.
But there's only so much you could do because, people who are able to give these kids all of these different opportunities, that's great.
Yeah.
But it does play into a lot of scheduling conflicts.
For sure. And I think the hours are always really good at this place too. Like, you never have to leave school early to go to dance class or, again, be there super, super late.
Yeah. This year we finish at 9:30 and I'm like, Dad,
Yeah.
9:30.
Especially for you guys to have to like close up and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little different than
Yeah.
the kids.
And I remember I had a student a couple years ago. She's not with us anymore because she was doing competitive gymnastics. And
Ooh, that's
she's
tough.
8 years old and would leave school every Thursday at lunch for the whole afternoon to go to competitive gymnastics. And I was just blown away by this child is 8 years old. And hopefully, like, I really do hope if you're putting that commitment, that time, I really do hope it leads to something bigger. But 8 years old and you're missing out on school every week.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me. Like,
and I don't think it really affects the kid till a little bit later in life either, because they're 8, like, they don't really know any better. They're just doing what they're told. Their mom's like, hey, or dad picking you up at this time. We're going here. And it turns into their routine every Thursday.
Yeah.
But then later in life, years down the road, then you kind of start to look back at it.
And wouldn't you have just so much more work? I'm sure there's a certain plan that they would adapt, but it's just crazy to me that at such a young age, there's that option to kind of dive in. It's really 50-50 because I guess if you know you're passionate about something, the more you can commit to it, then it might actually pay off in the end when you treat it like, this is going somewhere instead of being kind of, oh, this is fun, we'll see what happens. I guess there is something to be said with when you commit and like dedicate your time to it, your chance of success in the long run is probably going to be higher.
Right.
Anyways, so yeah.
What was your favorite style of dance?
Mine? I don't know. It's so evolved. I love all of them. I teach everything at our studio. So that also came out of necessity where a teacher would quit or we needed a class and then I would just adapt and start teaching that. So now I teach everything like hip hop, acro, jazz, tap, ballet, contemporary, musical theater. I feel like that's all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the difference they all bring because tap is obviously so much fun when you get to make sound,
rhythms,
the rhythm. Yeah. And just exploring that and feeling like you're actually creating that, where jazz, to feel so strong now that I'm older, sometimes sexy, just strong, flexible, and just fierce. Like that feels great. Hip hop is awesome when you want to feel that just swag, like cool and swag and just.
You can be in a rap video.
Yeah. And just kind of like fun. I like that hard, aggressive hip hop, but I also kind of just like fun, feel good hip hop.
Yeah.
And then lyrical, of course, when you're going through a breakup or if you're sad because of whatever emotion you have going on, it's nice to have that outlet to be like, oh my gosh, my life is so terrible. I'm so sad. And just get to feel like you can let that out through your body.
For sure.
I guess. So I do love all the styles. I couldn't even pick one.
Is there one that you like to teach the best? Or ones that's like easy, that's just like your go-to? You're like, oh, okay, I don't really have to think too much for this class.
Honestly, no, because I feel now pretty I have a lot in my head to rely on because I have been teaching for so long. And I did another job for many years where I would go to schools as well in different areas in Mississauga, Oakville, Scarborough.
Oh.
So I gained a lot of experience through that job as well. But now I feel as a dance teacher pretty good and
In what you have to
confident.
bring.
Yeah, my personal biggest challenge is always choreography though. Choreography stresses me out. And I think for a long time I felt that made me not as valuable as a dance teacher, but I think it's also just where your strength lies. I feel as a teacher my biggest strength is having my students understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. I'm not just saying do this because I want you to. I'm saying do this because it's going to activate these muscles and it's going to help you accomplish jumping till you can touch the sea. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's where my strength as a teacher is. And I love choreography. It always works out in the end. I always love the finished product. But along the way, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks. This is the worst choreography ever. I should start from scratch. Oh my gosh, okay, maybe I kind of like it. No, wait, it's crap.
Is
Throw it
there a
out. It's
difficult
garbage.
part where there's there's repetition? You're like, oh, I feel like I've already used something like this in a dance. Or...
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just your crutch, right? Like you know certain movements and your body, it's muscle memory in a way.
Onto those,
yeah. So even if I freestyle to try to start new choreography, then old movements come through, which is fine, but I just don't want to rely on them too much.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of save them for when I'm really stuck and I just need that little bit of transition. Or,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was just going to say we had a dance teacher at our studio, and she was like our main jazz teacher for a really, really long time. And then she got married and had kids. So obviously she moved on with her life and dance was not like her main priority anymore. But there was like certain moves. Let's just call her Chanel, because I don't know if people want to be named in this. But she would do certain moves in certain competitive dances, and then you'd see it in another one a year later or in another solo, and you're like, that's a Chanel move. And you just like know.
Yeah.
And a competition, it was just like the signature moves you'd see.
Yeah.
Same with another teacher we had that was a male. He'd have certain things we'd be like, oh my
You
God,
just
like,
tell.
it's his move, you know?
Yeah. And my mom would always complain about that. She'd be like, man, there's so many moves. Why can't you think of another one? But I think it's just natural. Do you know?
Yeah, your body
really,
just, again, it latches onto this. It's like, this looks good, sounds good with this.
And sometimes you're just in a pinch. You know it's going to work. I mean, I'm because my mom would always mention that, I definitely am hyper aware.
I was going to say.
And I use those moves, but then I try to modify them. Or I'm like, okay, what is this move like? How can I keep the vibe of the move? Or the purpose, like if I'm traveling, for example, the purpose is to get me from here to there. So, okay, I was going to do this move, but maybe if I add this arm or if I do this, I can make it look different.
Yeah.
You know, so I just try to, it's a
little challenge.
Yeah. And
time.
I think for myself, when I'm choreographing, I expect it to just like knock it out of the park. If you're writing an essay, for example, you don't just write the essay and it's perfect right off the bat. You write the essay, you review it, you cut out certain parts, you change, you know, so I have started to think about choreography in the same way that the first draft is just a draft.
It's not the final.
It's not the final. And as you keep working through it, you get to that really solid point.
Yeah.
I think though, my kids, they just know and laugh that anything I say is not what I actually mean. Like I'll say, okay, this is the exercise we're doing. You're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go to the music and I'm like, actually, wait, no, this is what I want you to do. And they're like, oh, you just said, I'm like, yeah, I know, just go with it. And I change it. And now they kind of are just used to that process.
Yeah.
Like, don't get attached to anything.
Your mental, how you work now.
Yeah. I'm just so indecisive as well. I just change my mind.
I think the best is when this happened a couple times where you'd learn a whole routine to one part of the song and the dance teacher goes, you know what? Like 3 weeks later, I think it fits better at this part. And then you're like, okay, well now I have to remember how am I going to hit this move on? Like what? They're just like looking at you a little confused, and it takes a little bit as a group to like evaluate how you're gonna do it, you know, look good as a team on stage with moving that whole choreography like bit.
I think it's also interesting too because that's sort of like the familiar part where we got used to it at a certain part. I'm using this as a segue to like life, you know, but you get used to that as a certain part. You know it. You don't have to think about it anymore because you've taught it to your body knows it. And then all of a sudden they want you to switch and you're kind of like, well, I liked it better the way it was.
Yeah.
Why do we
Change
need
can
to
be hard.
change it?
Mhm.
Why do we? It was good the way it was. And then sometimes you're like, this is a bad decision. But then you trust your teacher. You just listen because you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you don't. You
just
sit there and you do it.
You get told what to
Standard.
do, you do it, and then but then in the end, it works out perfectly fine, and it's actually looks great where you moved it to.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's also something in life where it's sort of like, even though the change in the beginning sometimes is weird,
Trust the process.
Trust the process. You just go, and whatever the final product is, you're never going to be like, oh, we should have kept that 5 count 3 seconds earlier. Like everything always works out in the end, and you kind of forget the bumps along the way.
Yeah,
I guess
100%.
Yeah.
So did you envision yourself when you were growing up to be at the stage you are now? Like, did you think you were going to be such a large part in the dance studio and have so many classes? Was it a dream you ever had?
I don't know. My dream was to be a teacher. I wanted to go to school and be a teacher, because I love working with kids. I love kids as a general of just how
Species.
Yeah, they're just such great people. They're so honest, they're so sweet, they're so real, and they are just born.
You help mold them.
Yeah, and I feel like what my passion always was finding this child as an individual and keeping that, and finding a way that, yes, we have to conform and do the same dance moves and look the same, but trying to keep that individual child. If they're really outgoing and loud, okay, yes, I don't want you screaming all the time, but you're still welcome to be outgoing and speak your mind. Or if you're really shy, I'm still going to try to encourage you to talk to people. But if you're just painfully shy, there might be a process along with that. So that was always my passion, working with kids, being a mentor, that sort of thing. When I was 18, I had planned to go to college for ECE, because that's what I wanted to do.
Do you want to tell them what that is?
Oh, yeah. ECE is early childhood education. So basically, you would work either in daycare or childcare centers, such as the YMCA or a daycare, or I think you would be a teaching partner as well in kindergarten classes.
You just wouldn't be the full-time
You're not
teacher.
the full, yeah. You're basically doing everything the teacher's doing as well, I think, but just not on paper, quote unquote. So
I'm probably not getting paid.
Yeah, the pay would definitely be like, that's probably why they have it that way, so they can get away with paying people less. So I was meant to go to school and do that, but then I was working at a restaurant, saving up. Serving, yeah. And this was when I finished high school. I was like, okay, I'll work at a restaurant, I'll save some money for school. And then I started working at this restaurant with all these people who were teachers and couldn't get jobs. And
they were also servers.
And they're all servers still. And they were like 30. I was like 18. And I'm like...
Was this a big chain restaurant or like one of those
family... Yeah, it was called Turtle Jack's. So I think there's one in Mississauga. There used to be. They changed it now. But this was in Hamilton. So it was a chain restaurant. And I remember having this moment of thinking, well, why would I go to school, pay all that money... Time, effort to just end up working at this restaurant where I'm already working. So I decided not to go. And that is part of like a kind of wish I did, but that's the decision I made. Was your mom upset
at all? Like, did she have an impact on this part?
My mom, bless her heart, she tried her hardest. I did not listen to anything she asked me to do. And I honestly don't even remember. I was the kid that never really asked for permission. I just told my mom.
It was a statement.
It was a statement.
Not
100%.
Can I go or this is what I'm doing.
This is what I'm doing. And I think that was really great on my mom's side as well, because I just learned to be independent, make my own decisions, follow my instinct. I do wish probably some things I did listen to her, because she probably was right.
I was trying to
help. So that's always been something like, I wonder if I didn't go to school, or if I did go to school, where would I have ended up? But it's everything just kind of leads you from one place to the other. Because if I went to school for ECE, I probably wouldn't have gone to George Brown. Through George Brown, I found the other position teaching in schools as well as teaching at the studio. I returned back to the studio.
Was there any teaching component in your program that you took?
No, that was the interesting thing. It was 100% for dancers, like to be a dancer. And it was great. I loved it. But once I realized like, hey, I don't think I want to hustle my butt all the time, audition, to be a dancer. I didn't think that was where my passion was. I realized like I do actually love working with kids,
Right.
and I love wanting to be a teacher. So through that, my other position I found was called X Movement, and that was the one where I would go into schools, teach. We had multiple programs. I would teach the dance or the yoga program. And having that experience, I was like, hey, I didn't go to school to be a teacher, but here I am working in schools, not only though teaching grade kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. So when I would have gone for ECE to be with just kindergarten, now I'm having this experience teaching kids from grade 5 or grade kindergarten who are 5 years old
Right.
to grade 8 who are 13 years old. So that from a teaching perspective gave me a lot of that experience that I loved and was great. But then now I've just kind of transitioned to the studio as my main thing.
So you kind of got to your end goal in a not planned way.
100%.
Like
yeah.
like you said, you didn't think you needed to go to school for the other stuff, and then you still want to teach, but you didn't go into ECU?
ECE.
ECE.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, you're literally doing exactly what you want.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I think I realized I still don't know what I want in my life, and I think it's always evolving. I kind of just go with these phases and try to get the lesson from them. I always liked the idea of that certainty of being a teacher. You teach from 8:30 to 3:30, Monday to Friday, your weekends are off. And I like the idea of that just so cut and blank. And obviously teachers do so much work
Beyond that
time
hour.
frame. Yeah. But then I realized I feel for my life, I don't think I can commit to that day in, day out, day in, day out.
And it's not just like for a couple months, like a summer camp. It's
for
like
years. Yeah. And I realized part of why I love the studio is I get to have that
flexibility,
but then my days, I still have the freedom to do things like this, to connect with people, to take time by myself if I need it. If I want to go get my driver's license, I can do that.
Yeah.
Whereas before I'm like, geez, the office hours are 9 to 5 and I'm working those times.
Yeah, you could just leave in the middle of the day, be like, but I want to go do a yoga class.
Yeah. So I realized I kind of want to have that flexibility in my life. How selfish or whatever that sounds. That's my life, you know? So I kind of like having that freedom to have options with my day to do what I want, when I want, how I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's backpedal for a sec. What's the funniest thing a dancer that you've taught has done in class or said?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. And I genuinely love my students. They feel, especially the ones who are like 3 years old. Last week or 2 weeks ago, one of them came in with a little napkin wrapped up, and she gave it to me. She said, "It's seeds for you to grow peppers." And I opened the seeds and I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." And her mom kind of winked at me. So I don't know if they were actual seeds, but I think they were seeds, like, you know, when you eat a red pepper and there's the seeds in them. I think that they were those seeds and that she wanted to give them to me so I could grow my own pepper. But I don't think they were actual seeds that you could grow. I think they were just like seeds she picked out from her pepper. So that was really, I just love.
Why did her mom wink at you?
I think because she was kind of just like, go along with it.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
And you were like, okay.
Thanks. And they were just wrapped up in a napkin. So I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yesterday, there's so many. Yesterday, I was teaching class and these kids were nuts.
What class?
Absolute nuts. It's a beginner jazz kinder dance. So they are 4 and 5. One of them is 3. This little dude. He's so cute, but he's just like a little dude who just
Boy
runs.
dances are my favorite.
Oh my gosh, he's just running around, not really listening. But we're getting there. It's a process, right? I have to stay patient as they discover too where they feel like responsible for themselves,
Yeah.
you know? Anyways, so they're wild, running around, and I wanted to do just like calm them down before I sent them out. So I turned off the lights, I put on some nice relaxing music, and I was like, oh, I changed my voice. Okay, everyone, let's sit down. Let's just stretch. Let's breathe. And she goes, "Are you trying to calm us down?" I was like, "Yes, I am. How did you know?" Because I turned off the lights and on the music. "Are you trying to calm us down?" I said, "Yes, I am." how did you know? And she's like, well, I'm learning to sing and dance. And I just knew. I was like, oh, okay. You're very smart. You're like good figuring that out. But just how well, I'm learning. She's 4 years old. I'm learning to sing and dance. And I just knew. I was like, that is the exact confidence that I need in my life right now. Like, I'm learning these things and I know. I could just tell, Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Just those one-liners. And that's why I think I love kids is they're just so real. They're just so honest. They're genuine. They're just trying to live their life and figure life out at the same time, while still feeling like kids want to feel grown up, So that's where me as a teacher, I don't want to always be sit down, be quiet, listen to me. I want that, but
You're
I want
not a prison.
them.
Yeah.
I want them to still feel the freedom that they still are responsible for themselves.
100%.
But like kind of guiding them towards what I actually want them to do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so then on the other spectrum, what's like a situation where you had to be stern and they're like not taking you seriously, or like a common error you see in the kids and you're like, how do I fix this?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just getting them to understand their body, I guess, where I'm saying, I want you to point your toes. Like that's every dance teacher's thing, point your toes. And when they're still not doing it, I'm like, how can I explain this in a way that you understand? And sometimes I do get frustrated because I know you can do it, as I would speak to the kid, but you're just not. You're not having that awareness for that. So physical, sometimes I find it a challenge. Yeah, making them understand what I physically want them to do because it's not always easy or natural. Last year, though, we did have a challenging group that they're all like teenagers, and we kind of put some new kids together, and it was just like baking soda and vinegar
Not
that
a good
just
mesh. Yeah.
And it was a very challenging year for them as individuals in the class, for me as the teacher, because we ended up dealing with a lot of things that weren't dance related, like talking about each other in the change room or talking behind each other's back, just the attitude with how they carried themselves in class, the effort, the attitude. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never want to have kids or when they become teenagers, I'm shipping my kids away, because it's just like, it was just so many attitude issues where and this year I've seen a huge improvement with them. And I took a lot of time to reflect as their teacher and try to be not mad at them. I was frustrated. And I even cried because I'm like, why don't you listen?
Yeah.
And then, but it was just all of us as people navigating how we interact with each other, how we work as a group. And we definitely this year have it much better. I focused a bit. We just talked. I tried to talk real with them because they're teenagers. They can speak openly, and I would say to them, I know you girls want these challenges. I know you want to do a quadruple flip and be able to land in a perfect split. But if you're not going to show up to class and put in that effort and have a good attitude about it, you're not going to accomplish that. So trying to use it as an opportunity for me as well, but for them to learn, like, we are responsible for our results. So it's really easy to come to class and say, oh, well, that person's being silly, so I'm frustrated because they're not doing it. Well, that's only going to affect you.
100%.
Like how you come to class, how you carry yourself is the result you're going to get. And all of us as individuals play that role. How I show up as the teacher, how you show up with your attitude, we are responsible for what happens in class. So if you're not happy with the class, I, as a teacher, am doing the best I can to make sure we're all happy, we're enjoying ourselves, we're growing, we're being successful in what we're doing. But if you're not going to show up with that same intention, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So yes, that's like a dance thing, but I felt like it was a pretty valid experience and conversation to have with them just as humans and individuals.
Right.
And this year, coming back from that, I've seen such a huge shift in their attitude, which is really great. We're only a month in though, so I hope that it sticks around.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that they've definitely kind of smartened up a little bit too. And at the end of the day, like that class, we're all girls. I said to them, you get your period, you have a headache, you broke up with your boyfriend, like, all these things that make you feel emotional. I want you to come to dance, and yeah, I'm going to try to challenge and push you, but this should be your place where you're
Leave it at the door. It's like
yeah,
yoga.
like let it go, deal with it later. And I remember that's why I was always so confused when they weren't happy at dance, because I was growing up, that was my place.
Same.
Where whatever I was mad or upset about for that 1 hour, it was a distraction. That 1 hour, I was like physically moving my body. I was focused on what I was doing. I was with friends, so that after that hour, whatever I was feeling bad about before, I still maybe felt bad once I realized, oh yeah, that's still there.
Yeah.
You know?
You walk out the door, crap.
It's like that little bag of like crap that you left at the door. It's like, oh yeah, this is mine. I guess I'll take it with me, you know? But you just felt better having that escape. So that's what I always thought was just so odd. I'm like, why are you making this the bad part of your life? Like, make this the good part of your life.
And you're like, my experience wasn't your experience. I don't understand.
Yeah, it was really confusing. But I think we've gotten through
the hardest part.
That part. Good. I did with all my kids this year as well. I did it last year, but this year more focus on it. I got them to write down their goals for dance, because
was it like anonymously?
No, they made it their own. Like they made their own little card where they wrote their name and their designed their picture if they wanted to, and wrote the goals they want for dance on the back of this card. So if it's, I want to be able to do a triple pirouette, or this split, I want to be flat in my splits, whatever it was. And I feel like having that thing, that tangible thing, might be helping us when I'm asking them to do something challenging. They can go, oh my God, this is hard. I don't want to do this. But then they can also go, wait, this is going to help me achieve that goal that I wanted. And also for me as a teacher, it was also a way for me to find out, where do you want, like, what do you want to work on? If you don't care about your splits, then I'm still going to make you do them, but I might not focus as much on them, you know? So
focus on your goal.
Yeah, I'm still going to work on all the things I view as important as the teacher, but I'm going to make more of an effort to incorporate certain things to help you achieve what you're looking to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said that there's a multiple of you that are kind of like as a team now kind of taking care of the studio. Would you say that they're kind of like equal roles, or do you guys have like, does someone do more of like the business side of like, okay, they input all the numbers for the dance costumes, they order the dance costumes, like who kind of does what? Yeah, so there's 4 of us, which kind of works out perfectly. I'm a person who likes even numbers because it's just so satisfying. Like 4 quarters equals 100. Yeah. So I think we at times, it's really hard to measure who does more, who does what, because it's such different things. The 4 of us do really take care of everything, sort of, but we also have our specific areas. So one of them does more the front of house, dealing with the customers, registering them, authorizing payment, making sure people have paid, collecting when it's time for costume payments and competitive payments, all those things. She kind of keeps track of all those invoices. And also she's like Miss Fix It. If there's a hole in the wall, she fixes it. If the sink is broken, she fixes it. If someone's costume rips, she fixes it. So she's really honestly I've said to her many times, she's invaluable, that she's priceless, because she does so many things for us. It sounds like she doesn't need to be told either. Like she just does it, takes it upon herself to get it done.
100%. Yeah, which is great. The other one as well, she does more of the getting us ready for competition and putting everyone's name into the competition, making sure that all of the names are spelled correctly, making sure that, you know, we've paid our dues on time. So she does more of the behind the scenes
for the competitions, or for like recitals too.
For recital as well, just all that kind of detail work. She's very detail oriented. So that helps, because I am not very detail oriented. When I want to be, I can focus so small, but then I forget about the big picture, or sometimes I'm so big picture, I forget about the details. So that's where sort of my role that I have self-appointed is, I consider myself like the visionary, in a way that I'm constantly kind of pushing the envelope of what we do to try and just keep that growth happening. Right. So I teach all the styles as well, but I'm also sort of like, we're doing an open house for our grand opening. So I kind of pushed for a raffle where we could give a free costume away. Okay. That did not get approved, but we did get approved to give away 2 free tickets to the show, which is something we've never done before. So my role is make sure that the kids are happy, make sure that the classes are great, but I also kind of try to have more of that future outlook, and how can we keep growing? How can we keep expanding? How can we make this a place where people are really proud to be part of, where they feel that community, they feel like they're part of a team or a family.
That's not actually a bad gift to win as a raffle, because when you go see the show, you see the different styles of choreography, the dancers, like the costumes they pick out. Like you can kind of just envision, okay, I can see myself at this studio or I can't, right? And it's very easy in that sense. That's like all laid out in front of you. You know, like you can see who choreographed what. You're like, I really love her style.
Yeah. So the raffle that we're giving away is more for current studio people. So the plan was more, these people have chosen us to come, and as much as it's a family thing, they pay money. You know what I mean? So where my perspective is a way of thanking and giving back to these people who do.
Okay, I see.
It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? It's a dance studio. We care about each other. We want the best for each other, but it is a business. So we do collect payments from people. So that's where I really wanted to have something that gave back to our people, the people who have chosen us, have stuck with us. So hopefully as time goes on, I can kind of push and get more.
Yeah.
But it's a new concept, these things, right?
Yeah.
So on the open house though, I am running a free hip hop class as a way, like you said, for the people who aren't part of the studio.
Okay,
they can come.
Good.
Yeah, they can come and try a class and see, hey, do I like this space? Do I like the teacher? Do I like the people? Because I think with a studio, it's a business, but certain people come and then they just, it's not a match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as much as it's a business where everyone is welcomed, we're not going to say no, but sometimes you do kind of jive with people, right? And if you don't like the teacher, well, you're probably not going to enjoy the class. Or if you don't like the kids in your class, you're probably not going to enjoy it. Or, so we do want to give people that opportunity to make sure it's a fit for them and their family. And then hopefully they stick with us. They like us,
Right. Yeah, I remember my first step into the studio. I think I was 4. I was really young, but that whole match thing just really resonated with me right there. Because I remember my mom was with me, obviously, because she wanted to enroll me, and the male owner of the studio, who is, they were never married, right?
No, but they're
together.
When you're together for 40 years, yeah.
So Miss Nancy was the owner, but
founder.
She passed away, and then so he was still around. Well, at the time they were both around. Anyway, long story short, so he gave us a tour of the studio. I remember holding my mom's hand, walking into the ballet room, which was there forever, and then I just remember looking around, being at 4 years old, this is where I want to be.
This place.
I guess I don't know, maybe I would have liked any studio I was put in, but just the feeling he made it feel comfortable and home. And my mom was pretty satisfied. She's all right, we'll sign up right now. She was very easy that way, and just it was a match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think when we try to force it, if there's certain people who want to leave, we've had a few people leave this year that were kind of whoa, really? I didn't expect those people to leave. And they
didn't say anything. It was just a cold drop.
Well, some of them did say something, which is we appreciate, because then it's not just where did they go? They just ghosted us.
Yeah, they did figure out other avenues if it.
Did you go to a different studio?
Yeah.
Did you just stop dancing altogether? So we had a few of those things, few people leave that we were whoa, weren't expecting that. But at the end of the day, if it's not a match anymore from a business perspective, of course we always want the business, but from a personal perspective, I don't want people to come to a place that they don't want to be part of. If you don't want to commit to this studio or this team, that's okay. That's if that's it, then don't come here. That's how it goes, So we really do want it to be a place where everyone is welcomed and supported.
Right.
And if people don't feel like that's the place for them, that's okay. That doesn't have to be any hard feelings. You need to go where you feel you're going to get the most out of it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So wait, did you touch on all the people at the studio?
I didn't mention Elise.
Okay.
Yeah. So she does what I do as well. She's more of a, the teacher, the visionary, sort of pushing for things as well.
And she went to school for dance too.
She went to school. She did the 4-year program at York. And now she's actually a teacher in school. So she's got a job she's not full-time. I think she does still supply, but that's more her career path. And she's not at the studio as many days. She's at the studio 2 days a week. So she definitely does a lot that I do as well, but she's just not there as much because she has a full-time
for
job.
sure.
That's more of her career path.
Does she run the competitive dances or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A mix of both.
Okay.
But we all do kind of both.
A mix. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So there's 4 of us. And it really does help, as I mentioned before, to have the people who, you know, I like the big picture. So I push for that big picture. I push for those things where they're like, what the heck are you talking about? That's ridiculous. But then I keep pushing. And then I get it usually.
Other than that dance costume.
Yeah. Other than the costume. I tried. I'm like, just wait till next year. Yeah. And then the others where they see the details, they see the details that I missed, which is really, it makes for a good relationship
100%.
to have.
They fill in the gaps.
They fill in the gaps. Exactly. Yeah. So it's been nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
So at this point, you're not just doing the dance studio. I know we kind of touched upon it before we hit the record button.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell everyone kind of where you're at in life? Like, what are you doing? Any other jobs?
Yeah.
Or you just working on yourself?
I'm always working on myself. And because I don't want to settle for things in my life where I've now put myself in a tricky situation because I do live on my own. I do have my own finances and bills that I have to pay. And so I have a few different things on the go to make that happen. And I'm also just trying to explore what feels like a right fit for me and my life. So I'm working with another company now called You Got Active Kids, and I do teach dance classes in daycares. So that's been a huge learning experience for me because I'm used to the 3-year-olds where I'm like, great, I tell them to do this, they do this. Where when you're now working with 1-year-olds or 2-year-olds, it's a whole different ball game because they don't talk. You know what I mean? Like they're not talking. They don't always follow what you're doing. So that's been great for me to learn how I can still get them engaged and participating. And then I also do a bit of the calling for them. So I'll call around and contact and try to expand who has that program. So that's one of them. I also am running a coffee business as part of it as well, because I definitely love health and just like giving your body certain benefit. And when I found this product, it was very interesting because it's coffee or tea, and most people drink coffee or tea every day, but it's infused with a herb called Ganoderma, and that herb is very cleansing. It helps your body find a alkaline state or a pH balance. And I tried it first as a customer for like 3 weeks. It's through the website. Okay. So I purchased it through, and like you can get it through representatives, which now I am a representative. So my godmother said, I know you, because I had psoriasis on my scalp for a long time. So she recommended I try this and drink the coffee.
Did
just
you post
like
this on your Instagram
I have posted it on my Instagram before.
I'm trying to remember. I was like, I think you might have like shown this before.
Yeah, I have posted it before. So I drank it for 3 weeks and my psoriasis like just started improving. And I was like, okay, there's actually something in this. Yeah.
That's working.
It's working. Yeah. And knowing that it's something that most people already drink, coffee or tea or whatever, I was like, okay, I see the benefit in this, and I see the business opportunity as well to share the product. So we're hosting on November 17th a event for that one where we everyone's going to come together.
So it's in person.
In person, yeah. It's at the Trayport on Queensway in Mississauga, the Trayport. And November 17th from 11 to 2, we're hosting an event, kind of like an introduction. So anyone who's heard about it or is interested in the product, interested in the business, it's a chance for them to come learn more about it.
And you're selling it there too?
Yeah, we'll be selling it. There's also speakers. So it's kind of like a motivational event, but also, it's sort of just an event for people to learn more about the business, but also there'll be some mindset and kind of coaching, I guess.
So do you make any commission or anything when you sell, when it isn't at the event? I'm just curious, like how you curate like, so you create income from this?
Yes, you would. Yeah. So it's sort of like I became a partner or a representative for this. And then when me knowing you, I'd say, oh, here's this product. Try it. When you purchase it through me, that calculates as like sales through my side.
I see.
Yeah. So that's another thing. And I liked that because I felt like it's an opportunity for me to kind of dip my toes into the business world.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that at the studio as well. But just
sounds like you're being very entrepreneurial.
I'm just sort of dipping my toes in all these areas so that I'm kind of gaining skills as well. And whatever I decide is my, like, whatever turns out to be my long term, I just want as many experiences and opportunities as possible to, that makes sense, build my skills. I'm also a part-time dog walker because I love walking dogs, or I love dogs. Sorry. And
so just walking is just part of the fun.
It's great, and that's part of why I like having my daytime free. Where someone's like, "Oh, hey, I need you to come walk my dog at 1:00." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I can take a break from work and go do that." And it gives me my fix of seeing dogs. So that's not really like, I don't advertise it super much, but I do have an account on Rover, so people can just book you. It's like Uber for dog walking.
That's
they can
so
just book
cool.
you. Yeah, they'll like leave your keys.
And like, do you have to drive there most of the time, or is it walking distance or a mix?
For the most part, you do it within your area. Like,
region?
they see where you live and it's within that. So it's pretty close to home. And yeah, there's an app that you use where you say, I'm at your place, and your map goes on and it calculates what you're doing. So it sees where you're going.
So is it people that are just too busy and they can't let out their dog, or is it people that are like unable to physically walk their dog?
Yeah, it's a mix of, it's anything really. It's oh no, my okay, sorry, I'm trying to give you an example. It can be just random, where someone's work day changed last minute and they're like, oh shoot, I can't be here with my dog today, I need you to come let my dog out.
Yeah.
Or if someone works all day and they feel bad that their dog is left for 8 hours, which is honestly terrible.
That is.
Then you can know that someone's coming in, your dog's getting that attention through the day.
Right.
Or, there's options as well for when people go away. You can watch the dog for the weekend or a week or 2 weeks,
have you
whatever.
Done those before?
I have done that. And that's so fun. But it's really weird because the dog is getting used to you and you're getting used to the dog. And when they're at your house and they start like ripping things up, if they are that kind of dog.
Have they?
Yeah. And that was pretty stressful when this dog just like ripped everything up. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, he's just a puppy. He doesn't know. He was super cute, but he was wild. I would try to walk him and it was like something out of a movie where I'm walking this dog and he would just go in circles. He's like yanking me around, running in circles. And I'm like, oh my God, please just stop. He's jumping on me like that, like this.
Did you like tell the owner after?
Oh, she knew. He was a rescue. So he'd been through kind of like traumatic experiences, I think. And yeah, she knew and she did warn me. But then in the moment I was like, I don't know what to do with this dog. And it was such a cute dog. It was like over a week. Maybe.
So do they like pay for all the stuff that the dog rips up?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the
what you signed up for.
Yeah, really.
Oh my God, that sucks.
But there were certain things where I'm like, why the heck did you rip that up? It was like a pack of Uno cards or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, why'd you go and ruin my Uno cards? So nothing that was of actual value.
That's good.
Thankfully,
at least. Oh my God, I can imagine.
But then it's also for me, I think, oh wow, I'd love to get a dog. And then you realize how much responsibility they actually are.
Like, I'm good with just having them day to day or week to week.
I can. That's why I like having that option.
Fix.
I get paid. I walk a dog. Did you grow up with a dog? I grew up with, we had 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a rabbit. We always had pets.
What were the 2 when you had that fire on your stove?
Yeah, well, actually, I think all of them at the time. I do. Yeah. Yeah, we had 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a rabbit. So the one dog didn't really care, but for some reason I feel like he wasn't home. The one dog that was the chill dog, I don't know where he was at this moment. The dog that was there was freaking out, so I just put her outside. Yeah. And then, we grew up. All of them are dead now, but I always rest in peace to those, except for one of the cats is still alive. One of our cats lived till like 20 something, Yeah, she was very, very.
Thank
She made it.
God.
Yeah, she made it a long time. Our other dog made it till like 16, and then he had to be put down because his legs like stopped working. And then our other dog made it till like 11, and the other cat is still
They all
alive.
like lived for a long period of time.
My cats?
Yeah.
Yeah, my animals. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess we just like we never even took them to the vet or anything. Like we never did any of that.
Did they
Like
get their shots?
I mean, I think so. I think they had their beginning shots, but like past that, I don't think we ever maintained anything. And they lived a long time, so maybe that's the key.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It was great. And I don't have any pets now, but I feel like they just give you such a sense of comfort and, you know, like warmth. Like when they get excited when you come home or there's something at home that needs you. You know, you can't just go on a bender and not come home for 3 days. Like, no, you need to look after this.
Yeah, it's like a kid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in a way, like they don't talk, they bark or
I know.
meow or whatever.
Pee on your
they
shoes.
do. Yeah.
I mean, kids do that, I guess, too, probably.
So let's talk about mental health a bit because I know like you are a huge advocate of that on your Instagram and you're really spiritual too.
I feel like everyone is on certain
On some
levels.
level, yeah.
They just like tune into it
You have
more.
like do you have the crystals? Is that what they're called? And the cards.
Yes, I love those little cards. And I know it's sort of like, well, it could mean the situation and you just make it what you want. But sometimes there's a certain card that you haven't seen for like 3 times you've done it, and then you get this card. And
what
it's
are the cards called again?
So it's sort of like tarot cards. Tarot cards are a little bit different. The ones that I have and often post are oracle cards. So they're angels. And there's certain angels that represent certain things like healing or angel of, family relationships or child or protection, angel of, guidance. Like they all kind of have different things. So you might ask a question about whatever, and it might say you need to take time and reflect on your desires. And then the other one might say, know that I am here guiding you, making this transition easy. And then the other one might say something else that kind of ties it all together. So it's like, even though they're just these cards that are just words, when you ask that question, the answer typically does reflect what you asked.
So how does this work? So you ask the question and then how do you decide which card you're pulling?
Yeah, so there's certain the cards will come with a book and it'll say, okay, new love, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards out, and it might show you kind of a formation. The one I typically use most is just looking ahead or just asking the universe, the angels. I just say, what do I need to know in this moment? Sometimes I ask specifically, like, I'm going through this breakup. What should I do about this? What does this mean? All that. So you kind of just sit, hold the cards, shuffle them, because that's sort of just tuning in, putting your energy into the cards. And then if the one I like best is the looking ahead, which is 3. So you just put 1, 2, 3 cards and you just pull them. And it's basically the cards that you pull are the ones that you need, right? Like,
So do you shuffle them before you
start?
start?
Yeah, you do what you want, really. You shuffle them. I like to kind of just like hold them, close my eyes, shuffle them.
Okay.
Breathe, think of the question I'm asking, just to kind of, it's sort of like a meditation in a way, like where you're just kind of focusing on that.
Yeah.
And then the one that I like with the 1, 2, 3, it's sort of like present, near future, further future. And it might give you an idea of what might be blocking you or what is the next step, or yes, you're on the right path. Like trust what you're doing, trust your instinct.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of nice. I know some people are like, well, whatever, doesn't make it. It's not real. And I think it really is just whatever you believe it to be. I find
it's like
a lot
ghosts.
of yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts or do you not? Like they're real, they're not. Same thing.
Yeah, and it's really it's sort of like the radio frequency with anything in the universe. If you're not tuned into that radio station, if you're not tuned in to Z1035, you're not going to hear DJ Danny D spinning the tracks. You know what I mean? Like you have to be kind of on that tune to really get something out of
Something out of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's really whatever you feel, I guess. Like I just love thinking. I didn't grow up in a religion or anything. I grew up with a mom who I guess was more hippie, but she never really taught me about spirituality or or religion.
Did you go to Catholic school or public?
I went to a Catholic high school just because I wanted to. My friends were going and I wanted the uniform, but I wasn't.
You wanted the
I
uniform.
wanted the uniform.
That's a new one.
I know.
Is this all girls school?
No, it was a regular high
Did
school.
you skirts?
Yeah, kilts.
See,
like I wanted the kilt
skirts.
and I just thought like I wanted the experience. I'm the type of person, I want to have every experience. So I went to public school my whole life. I wanted to know what it was like to have a uniform.
You're like a kid at a buffet and has
everything.
Single thing.
That's like
I don't
literally
wanna
me.
miss out.
That's why I used to like go to Mandarin with my family until I would literally be sick from eating so much. And I'm still like that today with my life where I'm like, let me try this, let me try that. I say to people all the time, my life is just an experiment and I'm really just, I go through phases and I make sometimes drastic decisions, sometimes dumb decisions, but I treat them all as just an experience of life and how it's leading me somewhere. It's teaching me something, you know? So, yeah, and I love the idea. I wasn't raised specifically religious or spiritual, but I love the idea that there is something else out there that you can kind of count on for support or guidance or literally miracles. And I'm part of what I'm working towards getting stronger at is just that belief that I can manifest things, I can create things. And what's the harm in believing that you can? Honestly, if it's like, hey, I'm starting a podcast, I want it to be successful, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to be the number one whatever, like who's to say you can't create that through your mind? Or ask the universe to support you by connecting you with people, right. Or, you know, so I just love having that safety net, I guess, that place I can go talk to and say, universe, all these things are happening to me right now, but I am releasing whatever I'm stressed about to you. And I know you're going to show me
something,
a pathway, a next step, and I'm just going to trust that everything's going to be fine.
It's like a nudge in the right direction, you're hoping.
Yeah, exactly. So
or even if it's the wrong direction, it's there for a reason. So
to teach you something, to show you something, and yeah,
open your eyes.
I love, that's why I'm really tuning more into that side
of spirituality,
just to kind of strengthen it. I feel like it is a bit of a muscle as well, and just
have
that place I can go, that escape room in my own mind where I can just like close my eyes for a minute and just picture life as I want it to be, and know that eventually if I can picture it that way, I might see the real effect of it.
Right. Yeah. Right. So do you have a crystal collection?
I do have a bit of a crystal collection.
Is it big?
I don't know. I
just think they're gorgeous.
I know. I sometimes have some with me, but
like you just carry them in your purse?
Sometimes.
Are they
heavy? I don't know. I used to put them in my bra too. Like sometimes.
Wouldn't they like hurt?
Yeah, I would take it off at the end of the day. One of them is called pyrite, and it's fool's gold. It looks like a clump of like golden little nuggets and stuff. And I had that in my bra when I was a server, and I was like, I'm gonna make so much money, because it's meant to be attracting.
I need some of that.
I know, right? And that's what I love. I'm like, why can't I just have this thing, whether it's hocus pocus or not? Why can't I have this thing that's gonna make me believe I'm attracting the things I want in my life?
Yes.
I'm not a super educated person on these things. I just am like, hey, that sounds good to me. I'm going to do it. You know, like I just,
totally goes with your lifestyle.
Yeah. Don't explain it to me. Just if this is if holding this little sparkly rock in my hand is going to help me find $1 million business opportunity, I'll take it, you know? And I just love I like the way they look. I like the thought.
A person that does like get stuff off the shopping channel a lot?
No,
okay, well,
I'm pretty good. I'm impulsive though.
Buyer?
When I'm like, I want a crystal, and I'll like go to the store and just like buy crystals. They're not super expensive, the smaller ones.
Yeah, the huge ones are really expensive.
The huge ones, yeah.
The little ones are like...
Yeah, they're manageable. And I just like the way they look too as part of decor.
I would just have them as decor, honestly. Yeah. Like, that's I see why people would have them, but I also would have it as decor.
And I think a lot of people do because they just look nice.
Yeah.
You know, and it just looks like something magical.
Yeah.
You know, when it just like came out of the earth.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't man-made. I don't think so anyways. They're just natural things.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I need to do more research.
On the mining of crystals and jewels.
Yeah.
What else was I going to ask? I guess the path you're on now with the studio, with the jog walking, with the coffee. Yeah. By the way, does the coffee come in different roasts?
It comes with a few different kinds, like mixed. latte is mixed already with milk and sugar. Mocha has a bit of more of a chocolate taste. I prefer the black coffee, which is just black. And then there's a king coffee, which is just it has a stronger amount of the herb in it, like the healing herb. So those two are my favorite. They don't come in different roasts, but it depends on how strong you like your coffee. It's more of like an instant powder that you mix, and you just add more or less water depending on how you like your coffee.
So by strength, do you mean like does it taste more bitter?
No,
or just
like
the herb strength in each.
Yeah, like
kind.
Healing benefit. It's because what the Ganoderma comes from a mushroom, like reishi. So it's the powdered form of that with the spores, which is the part that helps to heal your body and cleanse it and detox. So when I say stronger, that's what I mean. It's got more medicine, quote unquote, for lack of a better term in it. Or I guess a higher dose, if you will. But the taste, like there's not a dark roast, a light roast. I prefer strong tasting things, so I don't add as much water to the mix because I want it more strong.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if you like it more mild, you might add more water, or if you drink it with milk, you might add more milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. I was like trying to picture how this looks in the package and like.
Yeah, it's just like a little packet. You mix it with hot water. And so that when I first started, I noticed an actual difference was within 3 weeks. But now that I've been drinking it for a couple months, my psoriasis is honestly almost completely gone. It only bothers me a little bit here and there. If I maybe have too much product in my hair, it kind of irritates my scalp. But it really has been a game changer for that. And just sleep in general is so much deeper. It can help people with cancer, which is kind of a big claim, but not to go too deep into it, but cancer can't really live in an acidic environment. So that's where meat and pop and cigarettes and all these things create an acidic balance in your body. Just like when you have a pool and you check the pH balance of the pool, you might need to add more chlorine or whatever. That's like our body. We want our body to be in a neutral acidic state. And cancer can only live in the acidic state. So through this product, it helps your body become alkaline and pH, and therefore cancer can't survive in that environment. So there's all sorts of different. Yeah, well, it's my business. So the more I'm like digging into it, I'm learning more things. I love health as well.
You can't BS anyone. You literally know it all.
Well, not all of it. There's some people there who can talk forever on this product as well. I'm still kind of in the phase of like learning and understanding. But health as a whole has just always interested me, and I want to achieve just optimum health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like I just want to be a very healthy person. Yeah.
So I guess back to the original question, I veered off back to coffee. Your path on life right now.
Oh yeah. Don't know. I think that's one thing I'm working on, is having a bit more of a vision. I also have started a YouTube channel, and
I saw that. Yeah. That made me so happy because you're so outgoing and like your personality is contagious. I was literally watching the videos with my mom, and it's just I'm so glad you started.
Yeah, but then I'm like, oh geez, that's like the time commitment as well, and just all these things.
It's a process.
Mm-hmm. But I like that. Some people have said even I should start a podcast. I'm like, oh my gosh, all these options. There's so many avenues, and I love the idea of all of them. I love the idea of I like the idea of having a platform, being someone people would look to for guidance. But I want to make sure I'm in the right place to share advice or guidance first. Yeah. So right now I'm just trying to create a life that feels good for me and create a day-to-day that feels fulfilling, that allows me to pay my bills and feel comfortable. I don't want to just be struggling. I want to have like so much money in the bank that I don't have to worry. And I think some people go, oh, do it not for the money, but because you care. And it's like, I do care, but coming from a childhood where money wasn't always available, I think I have a lot of mentality around just craving that safety, that security, that I'm not worried. So my main goal right now is just to create a life for myself that feels very secure, very safe and fulfilled and impacts people in a positive way, whatever that looks like, whether that's through teaching dance, walking dogs, providing coffee. I'm like, I'll do it all. I'll try anything. And I know that through time, the right things fall into place.
Right.
Yeah.
How old are you again?
I just turned 26. Wow. I know.
What's your sign?
I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
Yeah. And part of me, though, being 26, I'm like, oh my gosh, I do a lot of comparing and judging myself.
Everyone does.
And just
am I ahead? Am I behind? Am I on the same track as that 26-year-old?
Yeah, and I do that, and I beat myself up about that so much.
So
I'm really trying to just like, okay,
try not to compare.
I try not to compare, and because you don't know anything, right? I can use my friend Elise from the studio as an example, who her and I both had such different lives, where my childhood was a little bit more challenging with the finances. I came from a single parent home that didn't have much money, where she had two parents
that both worked
that had plenty of money, but she went through some learning challenges or health challenges, where I was always and have been very healthy my whole life. So I think when I take that step back and say, okay, yeah, I'm comparing that you had this experience and I have it worse than you, but did I? Because I actually didn't have any health challenges or anything.
Yeah.
So I think when we're comparing to others, it's useless, because you're just comparing that one part, but you don't actually know. You might not want to trade lives with them after all.
100%.
You might actually be like, oh, you know
just
what?
Want that little bit.
Yeah. You know what? I'm good with what I have over here. So
yeah.
I think, I'm just trying to reduce the amount of comparing I'm doing and
good. Healthy that way.
Plan to live to like 150, super healthy and strong. So I got lots of time to.
Let's do it. 150. Yeah. 150.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you want to add?
No, this is great. It's fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. If you guys want to follow her on social media, her links will be in the show notes of this episode. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're subscribed to the podcast, and follow on all other social media platforms, which will also be listed in the notes.
Yeah, awesome.
Right, thanks. Bye.